Hi everyone and welcome to Revenge 101. Today's moral. Mess with the mail, mess up your life. Like, subscribe and get comfy. This one's gonna be from first person's perspective, so sit back and let the story land.
I've burned every letter your father sent, sneers Marilyn. The lawyer's envelope flutters like a white flag in her manicured grip, edges singed from the fireplace. Grandfather's dining room freezes, forks pause mid-air as my stepmother smirks across the linen. No one breathes. My name is Evan Cartwright, I'm 27, and until 10 seconds ago, I was the picture-perfect substitute teacher who mailed birthday cards on pastel stationery and believed in certified kindness. Dad died last October, leaving our ivy-wrapped Victorian house and an unopened future. Everyone says the will is safe with Wallace and Burke, yet week after week, the mailbox yawns empty except for greasy pizza flyers. Marilyn moved in when I was 15 and has guarded the address like a castle moat ever since, scooping packages before the delivery truck's brakes hiss. Tonight she brags about torching correspondence that could change my life. Her bridge club friends expect me to crash, maybe sob, maybe shout. Instead, I raise my water glass, smile into the ice, and silently calculate how many federal statutes she's juggling. My lesson plans tomorrow suddenly feel very optional. It starts with a small anomaly the next morning when the mailbox key vanishes from its hook beside the pantry. Marilyn declares she's assuming household logistics, yet unpaid bills stack like leaning towers and our broadband downgrades to the snail plan. A few days later, my Amazon toner cartridge shows as delivered, but only vapors greet me at the porch, while 3 porcelain figurines for her curio arrive unscathed. I begin parking 2 blocks away, slipping behind the hedges at 3:30 sharp to watch her stand sentinel for the mail truck. She scoops everything, tucks it under her cashmere cardigan, and scurries inside, glancing back as though the oaks might testify. The loudest flag unfurls on November 14th. A bank alert pops up. A $600 cashier's check marked expedited probate filing just cleared our joint account. Confronted, Marilyn laughs, brittle as cellophane, claiming Dad wanted her to speed things along and that I'm too sensitive, like those flimsy envelopes you love. That night the shredder growls in her study past midnight, the smell of scorched paper snaking down the hall. I lie awake counting each rip, a metronome of deceit, promising I'll outlast the noise and her. Outside, the moon stares through blinds like a silent witness, awaiting cross-examination. I welcome dawn's subpoenas. Over the next 31 days I become half educator, half postal sleuth. Every delivery gets logged in a spiral notebook, time, plate number, even whether the carrier uses a rubber band or clip. I mail myself a neon lime postcard from school, predictably it never shows. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ortiz, our retired neighbor, photographs Marilyn sprinting down the path with bundles clutched like contraband and texts me the evidence. I print each image, add dates. Tyrell, my civics colleague, highlights Title 18, Section 17.8, 5 years per count of mail theft. We study the statute over cafeteria meatloaf, laughing like crammers before finals, though the stakes feel lethal. At the courthouse, I confirm no probate filing exists. The clerk whispers another woman asked the same question and fled when learning the search was public. I file PS Form 2016 at the USPS, stapling Ortiz's photos, tracking slips, and Tyrell's notes. Inspector Ramirez flips through the folder, meets my eyes, and says, "Interfering with U.S. mail isn't just rude, it's a felony." We'll be in touch. I walk out under a pewter sky, feeling the wind flip my coat like a flag proclaiming, "Return to sender." The case number in my pocket beats like a second heart. Christmas break becomes blueprint season. My goal is simple: expose mail fraud and retrieve Dad's untouched will. My weapon is federal bureaucracy, time to strike during Marilyn's beloved charity gala mail, out in early January. I enroll in informed delivery, sipping coffee each dawn while grayscale thumbnails of my mail arrive, By dusk, the physical pieces disappear into Marilyn's labyrinth, perfect contradiction, all forwarded to Inspector Ramirez. Next, I rent a downtown P.O. box and file PS 3575, redirecting everything for Evan Cartwright, executor. When Marilyn notices her pile shrinking, panic will bloom. Tyrell drafts a firm letter from Wallace and Burke citing Probate Code Section 733, warning that tampering after January 15th triggers an emergency petition, conveniently one day before her invitations hit the sorter. On January 12th, I hide a GPS tag inside a hollow legal envelope from the law firm. It pings at our front door, then darts to Marilyn's locked cedar armoire. Screenshot saved. Finally, Ramirez and I agree. If that envelope doesn't reach me within 48 hours, inspectors will hand-deliver a stamped duplicate containing both the will and a notice of investigation. Ramirez grins, nothing like special delivery. I mark X's on my calendar, the way a conductor ticks beats before a crescendo. At 8:05 a.m. on January 15th, drizzle freckles the bay window, while Marilyn stages her gala invitation assembly line across the Persian rug, humming Vivaldi too loudly. I enter with 2 lattes and a clipboard. Fuel delivery, I joke, setting her cup beside the silver letter opener. She eyes the clipboard but accepts the latte appearances are her oxygen. Behind me, Tyrell arrives, toolbox in hand. The thermostat repair hides a body cam streaming to the cloud. I chat about postage rates, watching her slide invitations that will soon indict her. She prattles on branding while I refresh the GPS app, still in the armoire. Then the doorbell rings. 2 postal inspectors, Ramirez and Chen, stand framed by ring. Ramirez is velvet over steel. Mrs. Cartwright, items require your signature and a private conversation. Marilyn attempts polite dismissal, but the PS Form 3849 in his hand shows yesterday's failed delivery, proof of evasion. Paleness drains her rouge as she leads us to Dad's study. Mahogany paneling and the scent of pipe tobacco guard memories. Ramirez places a padded envelope on the desk, duplicate will, seals intact. Marilyn's hand darts for it. Ramirez halts her. Ma'am, further interference could escalate charges. She turns to me, voice sugar-dipped poison. Evan, tell them to stop harassing your family. I stay cool. Family respects mail, said Marilyn. Dad drilled that ins. She fires her gaslighting line. You invent injustices to feel important, sweetheart. My icily polite comeback slices the air, important enough that federal agents returned my calls. Marilyn pivots toward the inspectors. My stepson struggles with anxiety. He fabricated this. I unclip my packet, GPS screenshots, Ortiz photos, informed delivery emails, bank records. If my anxiety can fake federal data, I deserve a medal, not therapy. Tyrell murmurs and maybe a raise. Ramirez opens the envelope with a forensic blade and reads aloud, I hereby appoint my son, Evan James Cartwright, as executor of my estate. The words clang like a gavel. Marilyn lunges, Chen steadies her gently. Ramirez continues, you're not under arrest at this moment, but please sign here to acknowledge an active investigation. The pen trembles as ink crawls across the notice of federal investigation. Asked about more withheld mail, Marilyn gestures toward the cedar armoire. Inside lie neat bundles, bank statements, holiday cards, a delinquent property tax notice. Each stack is photographed, cataloged. The rustle of paper becomes the ticking of her downfall. Mrs. Ortiz unexpectedly appears with a USB stick of driveway footage. Marilyn hisses, but Chen smiles and bags the exhibit. Her fortress of secrecy collapses one envelope at a time. Ramirez lays down the stipulation. All future deliveries to this address now require Marilyn's personal signature. He hands her a laminated card explaining the rule. Her knuckles whiten around the plastic. matching the embossed lilies on her duvet upstairs. I line in, "Good news, you love signing things." Tyrell muffles a laugh behind the toolbox. The inspectors leave as rain tapers to mist. Marilyn, clutching the card like a sinking ticket, attempts one last plea. "Evan, your father wouldn't want this fight." My voice stays steady. "Dad wanted honesty. Mail tells the truth." I lock the study door behind me, consigning her gilded invitations to limbo. The grandfather clock strikes 9 and echoes through an address finally returned to its rightful owner. In the hallway, Tyrell slips the SD card into an evidence bag. My phone buzzes. "Ramirez, chain of custody confirmed." "Nice work, executor." Stepping onto the porch, I breathe air unclogged by stolen words. The rain taps softly, like a typewriter finishing its final, truthful line. The morning after the inspectors leave, the first certified letter lands with a dull thud on the foyer table. Marilyn has to sign for it. She still trembles from yesterday, then tears it open. Her crimson manicure stalls halfway through the page. It's a provisional federal charge sheet citing 18 counts of mail theft, maximum aggregate sentence, 90 years. "They won't convict," she mutters, but I watch her shoulders slump as though the numbers weigh tons. 48 hours later, a second envelope arrives, lime green, unmistakable from the county treasurer. She signs again, ink shaking, and discovers Dad's unpaid property tax now carries a 10% penalty plus notice of imminent lien sale scheduled March 3. She wheels on me, voice pitched high. "Your executor fixed this." I keep my tone even. Hard to pay bills with frozen accounts. Her eyes widen. She hadn't checked online yet. Because setback 2 sparks at 6:17 a.m. on Wednesday, when the bank's fraud alert algorithm flags the $600 cashier's check she forged. Every account bearing our shared last name locks simultaneously. I'm already at the branch with probate papers. My access is restored in minutes, hers suspended pending investigation. The teller whispers she tried to move $5,000 at 5:59. I nod, remembering her frantic fingertips on the keyboard before dawn. Setback 3 detonates at the most public place possible, the Lakeshore Women's League Gala preview luncheon. Because the invitations Marilyn hoarded never reached donors, only half the tables sell. She strides to the podium, cheeks powdered optimism, unaware that Inspector Chen sits among the journalists. When she begins thanking our packed house, the catering manager interrupts, whispering that the buffet bill remains unpaid. The microphone picks up her hissed reply, "Charge the Cartwright estate." I stroll in at that moment and into the same mic, announce that I am the estate's legal representative and have authorized no such expense. Gasps ripple, cameras pivot. Chen stands, flashes his badge, and escorts Marilyn off stage. The headline later reads, "Charity Queen Pinched for Postal Scheme." By mid-February, court dates crowd her calendar like storm clouds. Each summons reaches her only because she must, by court order, sign for every piece of mail. She can't avoid the knock, can't dodge the dotted line. The simple act of accepting delivery becomes daily punishment. I move back into my old bedroom to manage repairs, and every evening the doorbell rings with another envelope, another reckoning. Sometimes she won't even break the seal before crumpling on the staircase to cry. I'd feel pity if she hadn't steamed my condolences 100 times. Yet consequences aren't reserved for her alone, they radiate through reputation. Sponsors pull funding, the leg removes her portrait. Stores once eager to extend credit send terse letters, ending accounts. She signs for each closure, eyes hollowing, and the irony slices sharper than any knife. The mailbox she weaponized returns fire with relentless precision. Still, she tries one gamble. Late February, she files a motion claiming Dad was mentally impaired when naming me executor. Her attorney, a silver-haired specialist, strides into the preliminary hearing with 6-inch binders. I arrive with a single folder, Dad's handwritten letters she never burned, retrieved intact from the armoire. In them he praises my organized soul and writes, dated July 14, I've chosen Evan, he knows every bolt in this house. The judge skims a page, eyes narrowing, then postpones the final ruling until formal probate court, our looming climax. During the weeks in between, mail continues its drumbeat. A retroactive HOA fine for lawn neglect. Notice of insurance cancellation because premiums bounced. Even her beloved magazine subscriptions convert to digital only after failed billing. She throws a Vogue at the wall, pages fluttering like lost doves. I sweep them up, stack them neatly, because order is my quiet revenge. The last domino tips on March 1 at 3:05 p.m. when the eviction notice arrives by certified mail, mandated under Clause 12 of the will. Any resident obstructing estate affairs must vacate within 30 days. She signs, of course, and stares at the boldface date, March 31. 30 envelopes ago, she would have laughed. Now her signature looks like a faint afterimage, as though even her name is fading. Probate Court 4B smells of old wood and new anxiety on March 10. Rows of spectators gather, press, league members clutching pearls, a few of my students curious to see civic lessons alive. Judge Barrow, 70s, spectacles perched, gavels us to order at 9 sharp. Marilyn sits 2 tables away, lawyer whispering nonstop, mascara shield slightly smudged. I breathe through the oak polish scent and remind myself this is just another presentation. Only the rubric is federal law. The clerk swears me in. I testify about missing mail, present GPS logs, Ortiz's photos, the will, Dad's letters. Each exhibit is time-stamped, notarized, and projected on the courtroom screen. When Dad's July 14 letter appears, Barrow reads aloud, Evan is honest to the bone. The words echo, and I swallow hard, suddenly 12 again, proud of a perfect spelling test he pinned to the fridge. Marilyn's counsel counters that the will predates Dad's, declining faculties. They submit a doctor's note, citing mild hypertension. Barrow arches one eyebrow. Hypertension impairs judgment as much as coffee, he mutters, prompting laughter. Then Chen recounts the postal investigation, 26 intercepted pieces, estimated value of withheld checks $18,740. He plays Tyrell's body cam clip, Marilyn grabbing the envelope, and the footage freezes on her face, eyes wide, opener gleaming. Gasps ripple again. Barrow leans forward. Mrs. Cartwright, do you dispute that you possessed letters addressed to Mr. Cartwright? Her voice cracks. I meant to protect the estate from vultures. Barrow's gavel taps once. Vultures don't carry federal ID. At 10:27 the verdict lands. I am confirmed sole executor. Marilyn's life estate petition is denied. Restitution and legal fees awarded to the estate. A criminal referral authorized. Barrow concludes with a line that could ink itself onto marble. Tampering with the mail writes its own judgment. I feel Dad's approval in the hush that follows. Marilyn collapses into her chair, lawyer patting her hand like a spent metronome. Outside, reporters rush, flashbulb strobe. I step past them, envelope of certified orders tucked safe in my coat, destiny officially stamped. 6 months later, I'm standing on a refurbished porch, paint the color of early morning airmail, watching the new brass mailbox accept its very first letter. The house breathes easier, electrical rewired, roof resealed, garden replanted with sunflowers Dad loved. Renters occupy the carriage apartment, their check funding a scholarship for students learning civics through real-world projects. Tyrell helps teach the summer module. Mrs. Ortiz records interviews about neighborhood justice. Marilyn now resides in a modest condo across town. She sends occasional apologies, court-approved, inspected, certified. I read them, consider, then file them next to bank statements. The federal case winds slowly, but the weight of daily deliveries keeps her grounded. Every envelope reminds her of the moment the post turned powerful. As executor, I've learned habits of vigilance. I scan edges for tampering, track signatures, never underestimate the trajectory of paper. Yet the biggest shift sits inside me. Where I once trusted quietly, I now verify boldly. Where I once mailed kindness in pastel, I now reinforce it with registered proof. Revenge wasn't about ruin, it was about restoration, sealing truth with wax no thief can melt. What is moral of the story? Well, when someone hijacks your mailbox, don't just wait on the porch. File the paperwork, follow the trail, and watch karma deliver priority overnight. Because tamper with the mail and the universe stamps your destiny, postage due.
If you have your own revenge story, write it in the comments or hit the poll. If we love it, you might be featured in the next video. Thanks for watching and come back tomorrow for another dose of sweet revenge.